Of course, gold coins. They're a fan of the gold coins in Heroes and Newer, so making that well known. Nice prize pool. They're fans of the prize pool. Is giving some nice compliments to SU Games, so appreciate that. Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
guys.
So yeah, as you were talking about those, some of the players that we this is on it's Ultimate Legends over here. Of course, in the Alienware event, that's what they're going by. Ultimate Legends on the Hellborn side. But yeah, this Legion team, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can bring to the table here. But we're already developing. Again, this match, round of 16, it's very important. You win this, you are going diamond. If you lose this, unfortunately, you're going to be starting in the gold division, which isn't the end of the world, but it is not diamond after all. So, Riser, we already have a lot going on, though. What is going on? We got Keeper of the Force, Deadwood, and Master of Arms, so the double tree strat coming over here for the Legion side. Tempest, Magnus, Torturer, however, for our Hellborn team. What do you think of the picks here?
Uh, Legion team looks like the old SG strat, the double tree, and then of course Master of Arms, which they popularized. But yeah, this is moving quite quickly. We're going through the banning phase very quickly. Both teams seem pretty confident about what they want to do. But yeah, Tempest, Magnus, Torture kind of reminds me of the crazy AoE combo we saw earlier today from Randoms. Yeah,
Yeah.
Randoms. And perhaps Torture picked up. We'll see if it's going to be a support to deny the Torture plus Keeper of the Forest combination that I like to talk about occasionally. But other than that, pretty standard draft. And so far, it looks like we got Moon Queen, Parasite, Sandwraith, Monkey King, and Predator being banned out right now in the second banning stage by both teams.
And we got one more ban to go with that said. Over here on the Hellborn side. So Predator seems like he is a carry. Well, speaking of that, look at that. All those bans actually by the Legion side. Moon Queen, Sandwraith, and Predator all belonging to them. So do not want to give our Hellborn team over here a strong right-click carry is what it comes down to. But I was going to say, though, it seems like Predator has definitely stepped his game up as being a hero that a lot of teams are like nowadays. He did receive that change with his ultimate, and obviously the Elder Parasite change, I think, was a very attractive part to why maybe stepping out. What is your take on Predator? You like Predator?
Yeah, he's really good. I think the change had a factor into it. Then, of course, the way the metagame has been shifting, more aggressive play, and I think Predator as a carry isn't really your traditional hard carry, farm your core item and go farm more. It's more farm your cheap kind of battle effective items like maybe like a Elder Parasite and Sanitarius, and then go fight. So that is kind of how the metagame has been shifting towards. It's more aggressive. People are taking fights much more frequently. You know, gone are the days of hard carry, dodge every fight, counter push. We're more towards everybody kill each other as much as possible, and certainly Predator, once he gets those core items, can start to snowball very quickly.
I am a fan of the way the game is played right now. It is very aggressive and a lot of action, of course, with the Spectator. Brings great things. Now, Pyromancer, the first pick out of the second tier picks here from our Legion side, and they pretty much snap picked that. They knew who they were going with, it seemed like, out of that the second tier ban. So, Dark Lady, though, the response here. So, speaking of all those carries being banned, I mean, they banned Moon Queen, Sandwraith, and Predator, but you can only ban so many, right? So, Dark Lady ends up being picked up here. You think Dark Lady is going to be able to fare off pretty well here?
I think the Hellborn might be putting themselves in a bit of a precarious situation right now. If you take a look at the Legion team, they do have Keeper of the Forest and MOA, which is usually kind of more of your group up and push style of heroes. And looking at the Hellborn team, they don't have a whole lot of counter push. Now, they are certainly welcome to take the fight. You know, they have pretty useful tools in terms of actually engaging, but in terms of stopping the push, all the minions and of course the Master of Arms whacking away in the tower, it's going to be difficult. So, I mentioned Stay Green earlier. I'd like to see NX maybe run a style of 5 heroes pushing towers, playing very aggressively, and with an underfarmed Dark Lady not able to assist quite as much very early on, the Hellborn could find themselves in a bit of a situation. But as I say that, I was kind of predicting the MOA carry. Looks like we got a Chronos on our hands.
We most certainly do. And how about that to finish? Succubus coming out here to finish off for a Hellborn side. So, Last couple of picks, and again, especially with this captain's pick mode, I mean, that's where you almost would expect these kind of curveball picks to happen in the end, is with those final couple of picks, and sure enough, we have that Kronos and Succubus. Kronos more so. I mean, Succubus I've always thought is a great, even secondary support, great solo. Kronos, not often we see him at all. And in fact, it's kind of funny, you got the Hellborn team talking about AoE-centric and whatnot. Kronos can definitely fit with that, but he could also be seen as a counter, I guess, to it at the same time, so... maybe that's what they were thinking, but I don't know. What do you make of Kronos?
It's interesting. I kind of would have liked to seen like maybe a suicide or support hero to maybe send Keeper into the jungle and just run the train. I feel like it's to be hard for the Hellborn team to really deal with a really powerful, early game push strategy.
Yeah.
Coming out from the Keeper of the Force and of course the Master of Arms, but. Of course, that's not really how the game is played quite as frequently these days. It's certainly still very viable, but yeah, I don't know. Kronos is going to be interesting. When I see Kronos, I usually like to think you pick heroes that really synergize well with his ultimate. I remember I watched some games where we, pick like some crazy hero combinations like Defiler and Kronos, where you lock them down. Defiler's ult just like doesn't work. I mean, they do have the MOA and then Pyromancer, of course, and Deadwood can kind of follow up inside the Kronos ult, but there's nothing too crazy that screams out to me about, oh, Kronos ult plus this owns. But he still has his uses. People seem to be shying away from building him as like a hard carry, is maybe just building him as like more utility. Like they like to get kind of tanky, maybe like a early Helm of the Black Legion. Could be quite viable, but that's up to GOT down here. We'll have to see how the Legion team decides to play this lineup.
First off, are you playing DDR and Easy or something? While you're
sorry, is it loud?
It's not that bad. It is noticeable.
Well, like before we get in the game, I was making lunch in between, and I burned my finger really bad.
Oh.
So I'm not using my mouse. I'm using my arrow keys because I have my finger just like a pool of water.
Right, so you can't be hurting yourself.
I'll try not to do too much. I'm sorry.
You're in HoNcast, man. You can't be hurting yourself. Can't take injuries here.
It's kind of maybe after the game I'll show you my finger. It's pretty gross.
That's not good.
Yeah.
All right, so to start things off here, though, you do see in the middle lane Succubus saying hello to Pyromancer. That's Pyro coming in and already applying the early pressure to her. So, you're talking about Kronos, the build and whatnot. It actually, speaking of that, Help of the Black Legion, Kronos, oddly enough, Loda, when he was playing on the HoN scene a little bit, it seemed like Kronos was a hero that he liked to play. When they were around, and he preferred to go something like the Alchemist Bones into the Helm of the Black Legion and whatnot. So, wonder, if Goked here is maybe going to follow suit or go his own route. So we'll see what he does decide. But I'm a fan of Kronos at the same time. Definitely could be a solid hero, and also the rewind whenever there's RNG. Rewind's one of those fun abilities to keep an eye on. How much is proccing and whatnot, keeping it alive. But how about this laning phase? We got a 2-2-1 set up here from the Legion team, and you got Keeper, that suicide, and it seems like the middle and bottom lane, they should definitely win, of course, as far as the matchups are concerned right now. So,
yeah, for sure, we do see some quite nice counter wards and wards to stop the Tempest from having the best time in the jungle, which this is a strategy I kind of talked about, as I kind of see this one of the more powerful, just preventing that jungler from farming, getting free farm basically on two of your heroes is, you're gonna come out on top basically, just mathematically if you think about it. So, yeah, I really like this start from Legion team. MOA doing a nice job in this bottom lane. Usually MOA is not the best at keeping out heroes, and President 23 is doing a pretty good job in this bottom lane of getting as much as experience as he can. Of course, he just did get forced out pretty handily, but I believe he's going to have lane control here. Kronos, unfortunately, going to lose it, and the lane will push. So, a little better for the Hellborn team than I think the Legion team would have liked. But regardless, these lanes should go extremely well for the Legion team.
Yeah, it definitely is setting up to be actually a pretty good time here for our Legion side. We'll see though as of course the game progresses here, as we are coming up to 3 minutes. Speaking of Kronos at the bottom lane, Magnus actually in some trouble. He's gonna be forced to death bot. They have a Water Revelation, and there we go. Bloodlust kill actually coming out in favor of Master of Arms. Kronos almost fell back right there to the point where He might not have been able to chase him down. Didn't realize that his partner had a rev, but sure enough, Master of Arms was ready for that. And allows them to get the Bloodlust kill. So that's big. Although Kronos didn't get it, you can even... I mean, what is your take on that? The fact that the support here actually got the Bloodlust kill. Do you think that it almost is better? He allows him to get earlier on boots, or...?
It's nice, but honestly, I think I'd rather still just have the carry get it. It's just
Yeah.
that much faster to whatever he wants to get. I mean, the earlier you get your Alchemist Bones or Rune Cleaver or whatever the hell you're going to get, is pretty significant. So I'd say having the carry get it is still pretty important, but, you know, it's not nothing to split hairs over if you don't get it.
It's not like you go out of your way to make absolutely sure that he gets it. So getting the kill's the priority. That's what we get done, you know, maybe next in line, but get the kill first. That's what matters. Magnus, see right there, again, continuing to be boxed out. So as you mentioned, Master of Arms doing a great job here to start things off. As far as boxing out is concerned, also looking at the middle lane, you got a 22-12 Deadwood versus a 7-3 Succubus. Now, I've always been a fan of Succubus and her laning presence. I think you can even argue she's one of the better 1v1 heroes in the game. But obviously this is not 1v1, this is a 1 versus 2. And understandably having a fairly difficult time. What do you make of the Succubus pick? You know, we're so focused on that Kronos, by the way. What of the Succubus pick, though? How do you like that here?
Well, if they were planning to put her 1v2 mid, she definitely can do quite well here. Just, you know, the nature of that heartache basically makes her quite viable for this situation. It's going to be hard for them to really get a kill on her. And, you know, I think it's fine. She can, you know, you just need really perfect positioning, really, to pull off like great ultimates in team fights. And he's getting all the levels and stuff that he needs right now to have a pretty successful game. So I think it's good in this situation, especially in mid where they can't really harass her out, but she can stand her ground here and probably avoid death pretty easily.
Yeah. So we'll see as the game progresses. Now, obviously, things to keep in mind with Succubus too. I also love the fact how she becomes a very hard crowd controller. You know, her ultimate not only is it great for setting up ganks earlier on in the game, but as you get to the late game stage, sure, as far as the damage output is concerned, it's not nearly as efficient, but it's simply still a great tool for locking you down. And, you know, with that change with the Tablet of Command, she was one of those 3 heroes, her Pandemonium and Devour, I believe it was, got that change, so you can no longer tablet the target that happens to be caught in it. So another big benefit as well to keep in mind when you talk about a hero like Succubus. And on top of that, her smitten ability, I've always been a pretty big fan of it. They changed that a long time ago, but it used to be just base damage. Now it's damage output in general is reduced by actually up to 40%. And so it can be a greater tool. It's not necessarily just for that hard carry anymore. It could be a great tool against like a Hag, say, who's getting some good farm, a Torturer, things like that. So now that's obviously scaling into the later game, but something to think about if and when we get to that stage. In the meantime, though, Pyromancer's in some trouble. Ryegrass will catch Torture in the meantime, going for the turnaround, giving the force off to the side. Doesn't have his root hand, but blocking in Tempest right here does finish off Pyromancer. I guess that was more so just standing there, throwing in auto attacks, knowing that he was going to be fine. So in the end, after all of that, Creams picks up a kill, playing that Torture, actually. Good assist.
Yeah, it seemed like Pyromancer was a little confused. I believe he received the invis from Keeper as soon as he used his Q, so he broke it. And then I think he was just not really sure if he was still in Viz or not. Thought he was, but unfortunately it was broken. So Master of Arms is now, with that lane control loss, rotated to the middle lane, trying to set up a kill on the Succubus. Succubus, by the way, is just doing fantastic. For 170 GPM for this lane is really good. 16 and 5, of course. And then, of course, already level 6, leveling really well. So showing the power of Succubus in this 1v2 lane.
Yeah. You got it. I also happened to catch that on camera right there. But Kronos and Master of Arms doing a great job in the meantime of double stacking these camps here in the jungle. Kronos did go the Alchemist Bones route, by the way. You even see him sidestepping a Lava Surge there in the meantime. But yeah, going the Alchemist Bones, he had it basically just after 5 minutes, really. And now he has the boots on top of it. There comes a Kronos Spear in the meantime. Master of Arms assisting. Magnus is going to drop right there. Using the early Chrono Field. Again, that's one of those cases, kind of like Tempest, where if you can get one early on, gets a kill, that's a great use of it. Speaking of that, Elemental Void used in the middle, and it does catch Pyromancer. It also caught Keeper at the last second. He wasn't able to root in time. Down goes Torture right there. So they make it a 1-for-1 exchange at least, with support for support. But big ultimates used all over the map, actually, including that Tempest ultimate.
Yeah, for sure. Nice job by keeper. He's just kind of been farming these ancients, just hanging around mid. Already hitting level 6. He's actually done really well for the suicide land. 260 gold per minute as well. Almost finished his Ring of Sorcery along with the boots. So great start for him. On the other hand, Magnus only sitting about 95 GPM. And Magnus is kind of a hero that in complexity. When we were going to pick him for the suicide, Moon was very adamant that he did not want to go against 2 heroes as Magnus.
Yeah.
There is a kill in the middle lane. I believe Deadwood, just use the punch. So Succubus does go down. But in terms of Magnus, just not the strongest 1v2er. He does have that escape mechanism in the Lava Surge, but it's just not really enough, especially at low levels. It's so small, and his mana pool is quite limited as well. So 1v1, if he was up against his Chronos with Spooled Regen, he could certainly do well. But 1v2 is something that he struggles much more with.
Yeah, you do see Chronos right there. Steam Boots finish, the Alchemist Bone. So, speaking of him, I was going to say, Elder Parasite, it used to always be considered more of a TMM stomp build, basically, on a Chronos.
Heimer build.
The Heimer build, sure. But, again, Elder Parasite obviously received that change now. It's been a while, but we haven't seen Chronos really. At least I haven't ever since that changed, to be honest. So, I kind of wonder if Elder Parasite is actually on his mind here. It does bulk you up now a little bit nicer, and you still get the benefit of the great attack speed, which is great for Chronos, of course, being that he has that Curse of Ages. Would you be fine with an Elder Parasite, or you think it's low?
I think it could be pretty viable. Like you said, it gives you that, what is the item called? The Beast Heart, that effect, the extra health, and we kind of talked about the Helm of the Black Legion, of course, having a similar effect. So it could definitely be good. Of course, you cannot use it with Shrunken Head, which seems pretty good this game, but not completely necessary. But there is going to be some initiation in the bottom lane here.
Oh, speaking of one of those things that it's not great against, the Succubus hold, it actually tears away at Master of Farms, obviously holding him in place also for Magnus to come in. They wanted Chronos, but they will take Master of Arms in the end, so they can be happy with that. But yes, as you're talking about, that is a good point. I mean, that means you can't go the Shrunken Head route, or you still can, but you can't use them at the same time, obviously. So,
I mean, I think he's going to have, if they do it right, he's going to have quite a bit of damage. He should have the goo from Master of Arms, what is it called, the Acid Bomb in his ultimate, which will, lower the armor considerably of the people he is hitting, so that will help with his overall damage. But I still think the Elder Parasite could be good. It's going to be more up to him what he decides to go for.
Top lane in the meantime, great kill onto Darkland to try things off. Tempest now being pursued, doesn't have the element of void just yet. Another log picked up by Deadwood. Trees are spawned. There's a log throw. The rock grass comes out, and another kill coming out for Boxy, playing that Deadwood. He gets a double tap up here at the top lane, doing a great job of roaming around earlier on. And that all started, they didn't do the best of staggering. It was a Falcon Punch right into a roof from Keeper onto Darkly. I thought she might have been able to charging strikes away, actually. But it was enough, and obviously they get the pursuit kill on a Tempest. So Deadwood doing a hell of a job. He is already 4-0 in this game. And that portal key, yes, it is just around the corner. And he actually has pretty good build-up, too. Ghost Marchers, Power Supply, Bottle. He's going to have a portal key within the next minute here, most likely. So, not good news for the Hellborn team. Darkly Noodle is going straight for that Rune Cleaver, with that said. Amplifying her farm here at the top lane, but she is very vulnerable, of course. So, good movement from the Legion side.
Yeah, definitely. Once he gets that portal key, I believe everyone is pretty much a free kill for him, as long as he can land the grass before the punch. So yeah, I think once he gets that, I feel like the Legion team can easily take a fight. Just group up and push with that Keeper, and I think the utility of Chronos, even with these farming items, is still going to be much higher than the very vulnerable Dark Lady. So I'd like to see that from the Legion team. I feel like it's going to be easy, and like you said, there it is, the portal key picked up by Deadwood. And everyone on the map is pretty much a free kill if he can land it properly, like I said. So got to be very wary on the Hellborn team.
Yeah, especially since with him hitting a level 11 here in the near future. He's already level 10, so he gets that level 2 Falcon Punch. You're looking at, what is it, 600? Yeah, 650 physical damage, actually, on top of the minus strength. So Darkly here at the top lane, she knows she needs to be careful. Although, I don't know, I don't think he's showing the portal key. Or actually, he probably did. I think he did ramp by some creep, so they probably are aware that he does have the portal key by now. Look at this middle lane. Succubus, this is not the real Succubus. Oh, if they can get a Falcon Punch out of this, that would be huge. That is an illusion. They do not know it, though. Deadwood going in right here. It's going to go. Yes, he is. Oh, he saw it coming. That was just well played by Succubus. He was controlling it as if it was him. And he gets the Falcon Punch.
Nice bait, for sure. It was funny. You could just see Succubus in the bottom lane just sitting there microing it like, yep, this is gonna work. But yeah, definitely well done. That's 80 seconds where they don't have to worry about the punch, and of course they are pressuring this top lane now as well. So perhaps that being down is enough of a reason for them to take a fight right now. Keeper of the Forest, by the way, is a Pierce along with Master of Arms, so some fantastic counter push coming out. Look how this wave just gets disintegrated.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, level 7 Master of Arms plus the Tree Dogs tanking, and then Hellborn seems to have changed their mind pretty quickly.
going back to Deadwood real quickly. Remember, it did get nerfed with that level 1 Falcon Punch. It's now a 100-second cooldown, so it's even a little bit more impactful when you think of it that way too. The fact that he used it on an illusion and a great bait coming out right there. So it's still going to be down for another 40-plus seconds here. So that's that time frame where the Hellborn team won't have to worry about it. As you mentioned at the top lane, they do push it back and not really too concerned there. Kronos, he has another 1,900 gold saved up. You know, it's as I was saying earlier, it seemed like that build, the Alchemist build into the Helm of the Black Legion was popular, but this is, wouldn't be surprised to see many of things here. On Kronos, however, he's going to be in trouble. The Succubus hold on top of the eruption. Rewind, work, damn it! No, not enough right there for Kronos. It worked a little bit. It is only level 2, so not the most coming out of it there in the end. And he does die, so that would have been frustrating, though, if he actually time-leapt away at the last second and lived because of the rewind. But that's part of the hero, man. That's kind of why you pick him up, too, is the RNG factor.
Yeah, it's definitely can be very annoying to deal with, but of course, it is completely random. So, yeah, that was just really well executed by the Hellborn team. Just Magnus, I think, calling for just 1 TP and this guy's dead, and then Succubus, of course, probably the best candidate for that as well. And Kronos just farming that far up is just too dangerous for him, it would seem. So, unfortunately, he doesn't have the Rune Cleaver the Dark Lady has, so retreating to the jungle to farm is not quite as viable of an option for him right now.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned earlier how they're doing a good job of stacking these camps here, but you're right, without that Rune Cleaver, you know, your amped farm as a result of those stacks isn't necessarily as efficient as, say, the Dark Lady in this case. So Deadwood going back to the top lane, by the way, and actually he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Dark Blade's coming out, charging strikes. Tempest with the assistance. He will drop before even being able to react. The silence just way too powerful. And as we're progressing on now, it really seems like our Hellborn team, they've calmed things down. Deadwood had a hell of a start, but it has slowed down again. 15.5 minutes in here, they're going to not only get the Deadwood kill, but they'll get the tower kill on top. And Dark Lady has overtaken as the top farm of the game by quite a bit, but guess what? That's what Rune Cleaver does. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, oh no, this could set up actually beautifully for the Hellborn team. Magnus coming in, Lava Surge only hits Scripts. It does hit Kronos actually, and Kronos is in a lot of trouble. He has the Kronos Spear, but their Tempest all the men pulling him in place to sleep on a Keeper of the Forest, preventing any root. Well played right there by the Hellborn team. Great use of their crowd control. The root finally coming out, but the chase is still on. Chain reaction is going to hit. Dust is going to be applied. Magnus with the Lava Surge in. Do they have the damage output? A lot of stuns coming out, but no, they do not have the follow. But that is the dangerous thing about this Hellborn team, especially Succubus, man. If you're on ball with crowd control, they will lock you down, and that was well executed right there.
Yeah, that was really well done. Kronos getting caught out of position there, and then, of course, the Tempest ultimate used almost perfectly when he was isolated. And yeah, of course, like you talked about, the sleep on the Keeper, stopping him from canceling that Tempest ultimate with the root. So yeah, overall, just really well played by the Hellborn team. I like how instead of continuing to chase at that point, even though they had an advantage, they decided to back because Deadwood had just respawned and TP to the bottom lane. So could have been pretty disastrous if they had continued to fight, but knowing that Deadwood had just respawned prevented a lot of damage. But Deadwood could be going for a kill right here on Succubus.
Oh, Succubus, Rotten Grass. He's actually going to bottle up the haste rune. He's not going to go for it. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, now with that heartache and obviously with the hold on top of that, maybe figured there could have been a counter kill chance, just did not want to risk it there. And more so using the ultimate just simply to be able to bottle up the haste rune in the end, it seemed like. So kind of a funny sequence there, but it makes sense in the end.
Yeah, it was looking pretty grim for the Hellborn team, but just after really good fights, some really good pickoffs, they've just completely turned this game around. Now they look like they're, I mean, they are up ahead in golden XP, but it seems like they've got quite a clear advantage at this point. Yeah.
Helm of the Black Legion onto Kronos, so he is kind of going that style, but, you know, where do you go from here is definitely that question. For Kronos specifically, you know, that Firebrand into Geometer's Bane could be powerful. Hell, the Dawnbringer, I could definitely see that as, you know, it's just a great item in general, of course. Nox would definitely agree. So we'll see if that's also an option here, but Dark Lady, she's going more the standard herself. The Abyssal Skull after the Rune Cleaver. Possibly see that Firebrand next, maybe into a Shrek. We'll see though. Torture gets bursted down right there. Pyromancer. That's why you love her as a support. The Blazing Strike doing so much damage, but at what cost right here? Crypt of the Forest getting cut out. Can he root in time? Tempest ultimate not up. It doesn't look like they cannot get the root off anyways. Succubus holding on Pyromancer. Kronos comes in with the Chronosphere though, and he could not get the eruption off as a result of that. Can Kronos get any kills is the question now. No, he cannot. Look at that rewind coming into play. Deadwood jumps in, wants to finish off Tempest. He'll do just that, and Kronos is now going to chase Magnus. In the meantime, we got a couple of fights going on right here. 3 different fights. Really, it's a 3 versus 3 arena going on. Master of Arms, he's being on the run now. The turnaround on the Dark Lady not going to happen. Succubus, the Heartache, enough damage to get the heal up as well. Deadwood will fall right there. Kronos dodging the chain reactions, though. Can he get time leap? Yes, he can. And he will survive in the end. For now, Goo is placed down. And that should be the end. I mean, yeah, he is going to get away. Wow. Crazy fight there at the top lane. Chronosphere, it stopped, but they didn't have enough damage output to capitalize on it.
Yeah, it was a really nice Chronosphere. But yeah, they didn't really have a whole lot of follow-up at that point. You know, maybe if he'd been there a little earlier. And I just wish the Legion team would have taken these fights a little bit earlier. I think they just waited a little bit too long. They had a few fights and pickoffs not go their way. And suddenly they're at a big disadvantage because Dark Lady is just farming at 500 gold per minute while Kronos is only sitting at about 400. So he's going for these more, you know, the Helm of the Black Legion, the more early game fight, you know, item, but they just didn't really take any fights early enough. Now he's just getting severely outfarmed.
Yeah, that's true. 1,200 gold saved up on him, so again, we'll see where he goes from here, but Helm of the Black Legion, not necessarily that I want to amp my farm up route. It is a case of, you know, wanted to help keep him alive, of course, but at the same time, the Hellborn team, yeah, you're right, they weren't really playing the aggressors early on in this game, so you could definitely question that pickup, even though it's what I did predict from the beginning, but yeah, now that I'm thinking about it too, might not have been the best choice, but hindsight definitely works that way. Energizer going to be picked up by Master of Arms here in the meantime, so he's playing a secondary support and actually managing to get some solid farm himself early on. Enough for that. And also Deadwood, he's kind of tapered off a little bit. He started off 4-0. He has 5-2-1 right now, so it's not like been horrendous taper off by any means, but he has slowed down, and you can tell that's kind of been of an impact. And Dark Lady, she has 2,600 gold saved up right now. She just cleared up, looks like to be double stack Ancients right there. I wonder if she's just going to go straight into the Shrunken next. Would you like to see that, or?
I think he can just keep getting more greedy farm items the way this game is progressing, but yeah, okay, you're right, he's just going to go for the Shrunken. Perhaps he's anticipating the Legion getting a little desperate and going for a push at this point because they have to know they are getting outfarmed. But I still think he would have been fine just going for, like, the greedy items. Like maybe he could have even just gotten a Dawnbringer and continued to just farm, because I think if he did, it would be very difficult for the Legion team to catch up. Even if they, took some fights and won them, I think Dark Lady would have still been so far ahead that in the end it would not have mattered. But Shrunken Head is definitely the safer choice. If they want to go take fights, they will be much more able to. And yeah, coming back to Deadwood, it seemed like Deadwood was in such a good position to just snowball and take over this game, but like you said, maybe it started with that illusion bait. Afterwards, It seemed like he slowed down pretty considerably.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And whether that was just more of a mental thing or because, again, 100-second cooldown, he's not able to use it from that time. And at that point especially, I mean, he had a free kill on any hero, basically, of his choosing. So, yeah, you could say that was kind of that point of where they started to hurt them. Now, going back to Dark Lady real quickly, if this was Moon Meander, we'd see a Searing Light right now with a portal key, most likely. I don't know if you caught that the other day, but apparently Moon's been doing that build lately, and he made it work that game at least, so that's aggressive, though. Just passing up Abyssal Skull and Shrunken Head and everything else. But this game, again, this Dark Lady going more the standard, going more the even safe route, ultimately, into the Shrunken Head next even, with that Abyssal Skull. Now, Firebrand is purchased by Kronos. That's an amp farm item right there. On top of eventually Geometer's Bane. Again, could even be a Searing Light into a Dawnbringer. Wouldn't be surprised by that, but hold that thought. Actually, Kronos being locked down. Eruption once again. World Rewinds work this time. Oh, barely looks like. Dimma comes in. He's going to look to take out Succubus right here. Root coming out as well. And look at Kronos. He's even running back in. Succubus will fall. The sleep there on a Deadwood. He's done his job, though. And down goes Magnus. Again, rewind. It works.
They got
sometimes.
rewound.
Yes, they did.
Not much else to say. They just got rewound. It seemed like a pretty good gank setup. He doesn't have vestments or anything, and perhaps without that luck involved, he would have gone down. But barely escapes there. Dark Lady is still kind of posturing like this. There are no buybacks available for the Hellborn team, so I don't know if he intends to fight this. I don't think it's gonna really work
That would
out.
be silly.
But yeah, good job by the Hellborn team at least taking middle tower during all that fight bottom.
Oh, Dark Lady going balls to the wall. This is pretty damn risky. Tainsoul coming out. It is going to be a lockdown. Tower does fall. He does have the Shrunken Head, remember. The Legion team actually in full retreat. Despite this being a 4 versus 3, they don't have really their cooldowns, obviously. They don't have Chronosphere, actually. But Pyromancer not here either, even with his cooldown, so not going to fight it. So Dark Lady, she didn't even use her Shrunken Head either. She just simply charged in right there, and it was enough to scare the Legion team, actually. So I do think if NX wanted to fight that, they maybe could have, honestly. But
yeah, it was a little intimidating almost.
Yeah.
Just perhaps him just charging in there so confidently might have been enough to be like, oh god, let's run away. Maybe they're gonna buy back or something. So maybe the threat of a buyback there could have been. I mean, they were resurrecting pretty much almost close to the time that he did go in. And, you know, the cooldowns were down, some of them anyway, at least for the Legion team. The root was down. I think that would have been quite important. So, yeah, it worked out, of course. They did lose the tower, but of course get a free tower themselves here. And Dark Lady going to get TP top and just continue to farm. I think the Hellborn is just pretty content to sit back and let Dark Lady essentially outcarry this Kronos.
well, yeah, it's... And I mean, is that the best decision? I don't know. I don't think it is. You do have a great surrounding cast around the Dark Lady as well. Not only is she having the damn farm, but you have a Tempest, a Magnus, a Succubus, as I was saying earlier. And you know, Succubus might not have had the best start in terms of farm, but he got some good levels. He is level 12 right now. Actually, top lane, this is a big kill right here. Devil's going to get the kill onto Dark Lady. Keeper of the Forest doing a lot as well with the root. I caught the very tail end of that, so unfortunately not seeing exactly how it happened, but Dark Lady getting caught, and that's huge, obviously, for NX over here. And a step in the right direction in terms of competing with her when it comes to farm. But top lane, that is an illusion. Okay, so yeah, just that and nothing more. So, big kill at least, and going to buy some more time for Kronos to kind of recover. And he did buy the Blessed Orb, by the way, so it looks like Geometer's Bane is going to be coming out here for him. But I was going to say with Succubus, though, but Portal Key has been picked up by Succubus, so... you know, she's level 12. She has a portal key. I think she's definitely accomplishing at least that job right there. But, oh, middle lane. Torture is going to get bursted down. No Falcon Punch even necessary. Just his new Shrunken Head.
So, yeah, Deadwood opting for the Shrunken Head instead of the Bulwark. You don't see that too often. Usually a Deadwood that's not really farming well, you might see that usually. But I think the Bulwark would have been a little better to find some pickoffs. But, of course, he did just find a kill right there, and you know, the hard support Torture who's gonna die to Deadwood Bulwark or not. But yeah, interesting. I mean, all the items are getting tell me that they want to just go and take fights, like the Helm of the Black Legion, the Shrunken Head now. But we'll have to see if they actually elect to start playing aggressively soon, or just continue to farm and hope to find these pickoffs.
Yeah, you know, we talk about it all the time, especially with portal keys in the first place. Again, the fact that it provides no stats. And it is for that initiation and playing aggressive in most cases, at least. You know, do they use it? That's what you keep an eye out for. And we'll see in these next couple of minutes if that is the case here. Because yeah, right in the Shrunken Head, the Geometer's been just finished by Kronos with the Home of the Black Legion that it went before. Portal Key on Keeper. I assume he's had that for a little bit now, but just realizing that myself. So top, what's going on up here? Actually, they do catch Kronos again. This combination, they do have Dark at this time, but look at how tanky Kronos is. The Chronosphere comes out. Deadwood and Pyromancer here. Deadwood can't do much, but Pyromancer can. Magnus will fall, but now Dark Lady opening onto Kronos. He has Geometer's Bane already used it actually, and yes, he will fall. The Tempest Ultimate locking down Deadwood on top of that, and it ends up being a lot better there for the Hellborn team. A 2-for-1 exchange, including the kill onto Kronos. So he survived initially, but wasn't going to be the case at the end, and this could open up a Conquer kill, it looks like. It's not going to be good.
Yeah, certainly could. Tree, in the meantime, was pushing that top lane the whole time. Could have maybe TP'd and gotten to that engagement, but I don't know if his TP was down or what, but I think he had plenty of time if it was not. But at least he's going to get a tower kill out of this. Probably going to continue to push this, at least for the time being, until the Hellborn kills this Kongor, which, like you said, is going to be free, and certainly not a good thing for the Legion team.
Yeah.
I just want to see, like, I really still keep emphasizing that the Legion should be trying to fight 5v5. It might be too late at this point, but earlier it certainly would have been quite a viable option for them.
As we are approaching 28 minutes into this game right now. Speaking of keeping the force in that top tower push, he does buy a sustainer right there, so on his way to, of course, a restoration stone. As always, a big pickup, especially in that Tempest matchup, as we have seen, and you specifically have been a part of so many of times.
Yep, every time.
Every time. Void Talisman, I believe, just purchased by Succubus, actually. What do you think of that pickup? With early Void Talisman here.
Yeah, it's kind of counters Deadwood and Chronos. I like it. I think Deadwood's probably going to be gunning for him. Maybe, I don't know, Deadwood can be gunning for a lot of people in this team. They're all pretty important to the team fights. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just another utility item. Of course, I like to see Tablet of Command versus Chronos. Just pushing people out of the ultimate is what I consider quite a hard counter. But this item is fine. Maybe a little greedier than the tablet, but it makes sense. I mean, whenever you get grasped by Deadwood and then you're by yourself, you just kind of hit the Void Talisman. He's like, oh wait, JK.
Yeah. Dark Lady choosing not to pursue Pyromancer right there. He found her by herself. Offensive Master's Call was even used to help get away. She didn't even taint Soul, though. I don't know if that was just lack of vision or whatnot. It very likely could have been, but in the end, Pyromancer strides away, and he does survive, so I'm sure feeling a little lucky right there in level 8 Pyro against a 19 Dark Lady. Not usually a matchup to get away from, but
usually the Dark Lady wins this matchup.
Yeah, safe to say. Dark Lady does have a double damage rune, by the way, right now, with the Token of Life, and she just recently finished a Frostburn. Looks like she's very likely going to even be going into a full-on Dawnbringer here. Easy tower push, to say the least. Down the top lane again. Keeper the Force, joined by Dewa, the Tree Brethrens here. They're doing what they can to distract, if not make the best of the situation, pushing the top lane. Are they going to port back eventually, though? I mean, your base is starting to be beat on. You would like to think so, and yes, they are. So here we go. Base fight coming up right here. Again, Dark Lady, Token of Life for still 4.5+ minutes, really. Actually, Barrier Idol just finished on Tempest. So prioritizing that over a Shrunken Head or a Portal Key, even. Dark Lady in those front lines, beating away at it. You got to think the Legion team can't do this for too long, of course. Eventually make her go. Charge shot.
The best solid counter push, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they are definitely losing a lot of tower health. This could be the cue for the Hellborn to fall back, but it looks like they would still want to take this fight. They do have the token, like you said, and of course that's always a good indicator to fight.
Well, look at the bottom and top lanes too. Legion team is actually getting some good creep push going. Gonna apply pressure themselves to their base. So I think if you're the Legion side, you're fine, honestly, delaying this as much as possible and not looking to go in too much, but actually jump in the background of Magnus. Gonna be able to stun away though. Succubus hold on to Kronos in the meantime. On top of the Tempest ultimate. Not what you want. Keeper root already used. Kronos being completely locked down. He splits up, but it's just way too late. He does have a buyback. He uses it immediately. Magnus does it a Master of Arms. Where is Kronos? No Chronosphere yet. Is he going to jump in eventually? There he goes. The Chronosphere comes out directly just on the tail end. He's trying to finish off at least Magnus. Succubus going to try to crowd control him. Not enough, though. He did smitten him, however, so he's not doing the most damage in the process. And now he's trying to run away in the background, though. Dark Lady doing her work. Oh, where is she going, man? Pretty much knows that she's good right here as far as dead goes. You see the sleep causing some issues. She's going to resurrect. Tempest and Succubus going to try to assist. There's the Shrunken Head. She still hadn't even used that whole time. Quad kill coming out. Can Noodle pick up an Annihilation. Keeper and Kronos not going to give her the chance at least yet. Wow. Big dive there.
Yeah, that was Kronos, though. A lot of misplays from Legion. I don't know where the grass was after the punch on Magnus. I don't know if he'd already used it or what. Maybe he thought he could just punch him and kill him anyway.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Keeper, I think, tried to make up for his mistake by blinking and rooting, but it unfortunately hit no one. I think he wanted to hit Magnus on the tail end of it and finish him off, but Keeper's also going to go down here to Dark Lady gets a free kill. But yeah, Keeper root hit absolutely nothing. Got a full Tempest ult off, but Legion could be looking to maybe turn this around.
I don't know about that. You still have Dark Lady full life, half mana. She has a Succubus and Tempest teammate. This is very ballsy here by Legion teammate. I know they want to fight the back. And actually, here we go. Dark Lady Falcon punch, but she's charging strikes in with those Dark Blades and the Rune Cleaver. Another double tap. She has 7 or 8 kills alone here in this whole sequence. Yeah, can she get away from this? Maybe not. Trying to strike back in. Wants to get the kill to Master of Arms. Yes, gets the kill. A hat trick finally falls, but I believe she had, honestly, 8 total kills throughout this whole time being here before she finally gets killed herself. So, wow. A lot of good things happening for Noodle right there. He's sitting on 4,400 gold, more than enough to buy back, of course, but absolutely not necessary. Yeah, you're right, though. The forcing from it, I mean, just right as I got finished saying that NX, you know, you got to top and bottom lane pushing. You don't need to really rush anything. Now, it's one thing if you think you have a chance, you want to take it, okay, that's fine, but clearly it was not executed at any level that they wanted it, and it just was disastrous from there. So even though they finally killed Dark Lady in the end, that's just a very, very small victory there. After that
Yeah,
whole
for
battle,
sure. They ended up losing, of course, the Rax, and yeah, just kind of poor execution in that team fight. You know, I think a grasp onto Magnus before or after the punch would have resulted in his death. Instead, he gets away, gets a big eruption off. You know, Keeper of the Forest tries to compensate, and like I said, completely missed the root. Of course, Kronos died, I think, before he could use his ultimate. Brought back and used the ult, but I think it was just a little too late. It seemed like almost the Hellborn team was just kind of screwing around at the end there at that point. Dark Lady getting like 8 million kills. So
it was 8 or 9 kills, I believe. Yeah, that was just... So he had a quad earlier on and then a hat trick. So, man, oh man. Doing work there, this Noodle. And actually, he does finish the Dawnbringer. Still has 2,200 gold saved up after finishing that. Having a good time. Keeper of the Forest, he is still working towards that restoration stone. Speaking of buybacks, too, both Master of Arms and Kronos, of course, buying back right there. So, keeping that in mind. Kronos has another 3,200 gold saved up, though. Kind of wonder if that Shrunken Head is maybe next in mind for him. But that goes back to it. We've seen Succubus now several times in these big fights. Just lock him down with a Succubus hold. Guess what? Shrunken Head won't stop that. So, do you think Shrunken Head is still worth it? I mean, still, hell, Tempest Ultimate still goes through, of course. So
no, I think he should get some kind of damage item at this point. They're kind of lacking it. Their supports are really underleveled, of course. And Deadwood is kind of just the go in and blow everything and get out. They don't have a whole lot of sustained damage, so, you know, with the Shrunken Head being countered by the Succubus hold and Tempest ult to some extent anyway, I think he should just get some kind of damage item. Maybe like a Savage Mace or, hell, even like a Shield Breaker at this point. Of course, he probably doesn't want to have buyback at this point, and Legion looks kind of lax about putting up a defense here. Okay, here we go. They got the counter push coming out, but great damage, of course, done to this tower. And Dark Lady just going to charge it in very aggressively at this point. It shows how confident he is and how farmed he is at this point.
There's the Shrunken Head again, though. I 100% agree with you, and that's what I was bringing. It doesn't feel like it's going to do much for you in the end, but we'll see if it's going to be enough to maybe hold them off. If you lose another set of racks here, you can pretty much say this game is going to be over. So the melee racks dropping about 1,000 life already. Let's start regenerating, of course, but Darkly no token of life this time. So if you get the good initial burst, maybe there's that chance. But you know, after feeling lots of there's Kronos going in, the Shrunken Head, the Kronos are catches 4 heroes actually. Where is the follow-up though? The Geometer's going to be using a root on top of that. Isn't it enough damage? It doesn't look like it. There's the Succubus, so Magnus coming back in with the eruption. Shrunken Head is worn off now, and Kronos is going to be completely locked down. Rewind not nearly enough. Of course he has no buyback. And that's probably going to do it. So balls to the wall going Kronos right there. Good, it's a great Chronosphere, but this isn't that AoE heavy team that you put it from the very beginning. It's not a team that screams, oh, you get a big Chronosphere. Guess what? Here's the follow-up.
Yeah, sure.
Much,
exactly.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they could have done more there as well. I feel like Deadwood was holding his grasp as well. He didn't really cast the grasp until the Chronosphere ended. I think he could have caught 4 heroes there if he just preemptively casted it while they were still inside. You know, it's hard for Pyromancer to follow up as he doesn't have a blink or anything to get in there quickly, but just perhaps some lack of execution in team fights really cost them. And I really think they had the items to take it early. You know, Deadwood, like I said, could one-shot anyone, but yeah, he was in a great position to snowball and carry this game as well, but just didn't come through for the Legion team.
Yeah, wasn't to be. It was a great start. It really was there for our Legion side, but obviously not enough in the end. So in this case, nice prize pool. They do take the first game here in this best out of 3. I know, fun names, right? So they took the first game here in this best out of 3. We'll see what they got for game number 2. And see if GC can make a comeback there. NX, I guess, is more appropriate, as that's what they're all tagged up as, is from that first game. See if they can make a comeback and force that third and final game. Hey, you know, we saw the first series. Obviously, that was 007 winning the first game and then losing the next 2 to Team Randoms. So maybe a similar thing could happen here. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll sit tight. You will sit tight. We'll sit tight. We'll wait for game number 2 to start here. in just a moment. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be back. Game number 2 coming up next, guys.